Here's the project we're going to be working on today. This is a very small, 22-inch, I think, little quilt that I'm working on. It's going to be a handbag for my mom. So the design I want to do, I guess, is feathers. And this part of the quilt here, I think I want the feathers to fit in these 4.5-inch blocks all over the quilt. Here's the back of it. Again, those are 4.5-inch squares. I have it loaded up on the machine already. I was working some freehand this morning and keep getting squiggles on the back. Apparently the machine prefers QBot over freehanding, so since I want the feathers to look beautiful and perfect, it's not a stupid idea to go draw them quickly in QBot and have it done automatically for me, right? So I figured this would be a great time to make a video on how to get that accomplished. So we're here now in my QBot Design Studio, aka my living room. We have my laptop, we have my mouse, I have my QBot card to save my design once I'm done. I have my little dongle. That's all I need. I know what size I want. I want a 4.5-inch square. I want feathers. It's pretty much all there is. It might take an hour and we'll be done. So let's get rolling. Okay, so we're in QBot Designer and we're going to say File, New, Start a new element, Next. I've chosen 4.5 inches width and height for the new square I want to make to put the feathers in, and I say Finish. And here's our little square. It has 1/2-inch grid lines. And I'm going to want to do a little feather in half of this square. So I'm going to put a line in the middle here so that I know where to stop. So I'm going to draw a line from this corner to this corner. And first I'm going to choose Snap to Grid, so I don't have to make it exact. It's going to go right in those corners. So left mouse, left mouse, and then right mouse draws the line. Then I want to undo the Snap to Grid. For the rest of this design, I won't be needing it. So now we're going to move on to creating the spine. And I think I want it to come kind of up, kind of question mark like here. And I could draw that pretty simply, but another idea that I want to show you was to go to the mini picks. And these are supplied by QBot. And there's a couple little designs in here. You can choose one, and I like this guy. So I chose it, I close this, and there he is. So he's selected in this little box. There are several little icons around the box I just want to go over quickly. If he's upside down, I can click that one, and he flips back and forth. If I want him vertically challenged one way or the other, boom, boom. This little thing is the point where things will rotate if I click on this circle and move things around. See how it moves around that? If I wanted to put the end of the spine in a certain place and then spin this design on that axis, I could move that to there. Then when I move it, it moves it there to spin it around, which is kind of cool. Also on the corners here, there are little handles to pull, so you can twist and pull it in different directions. And as you can see, I can enlarge it, I can move it around, I can make it skinny and tall or small. I'm going to just stick them in here, drag this kind of down this way, and now I at least have a beginning point of what I want to do with this guy. So now I'm going to go to the nodes and just move it around manually. So I'm going to click on Edit Nodes, and boom, look how many there are. I don't need all those nodes. As we went over in the last video, the fewer nodes there are, the smoother and prettier the line can be. So I'm going to delete a bunch of these guys. I'm going to go over to the Delete Nodes button, and typically I delete 2, leave 1. Delete 2, leave 1. And I can delete more later. I just want to get rid of these for now and play with this a little bit and get it to a place I sort of like it. I'm going to move this down towards where it'll begin. Make decision later about the start end, jaunt there. And just kind of move it around. I find that they always end up looking like a heart. They almost always do, the way I work them. So this is a line I'm going to be able to move around all I want later. I'm kind of just getting it in there so that I can start putting feathers around it and then perfect it later. So that looks, okay. It's not perfectly round. It's not super pretty. However, I'm going to get the feathers in there, and how I end up placing them and how pretty they look is going to determine, how much I move this around further. So let's get to adding the feathers. One thing I want to do first is change the color of this line, because the feathers and this are going to kind of cross each other, and I want to be able to easily determine what's a feather and what is this spine line. I'm going to change the line to make it red. So I clicked on the red color up here on the right. I click on this little, I don't know what this is, and boom, that's red. So now I want the feathers to be blue, so I'm going to click on the blue again, and let's drag a feather in here. The feathers are in the little shapes box. So I'm going to click on that and then scroll down kind of near the bottom. There's hearts in here. It's all kinds of fun stuff. Here's the feather that I want. So I pick them. I come here and I click and drag, and there's a feather. That simple. If I select him now, I can turn him. I want him over here. I'm going to start here. I turn him and put him there. I can make him taller and skinnier. I can make him fat and long. I can do all sorts of things with him. I think I want him a little taller and skinnier and more fun like that. So I'm going to stick him down here. Then I think I'm going to delete some nodes on him. I know he's full of nodes. Look at all those nodes. Yikes. So delete 2 and leave the 3rd. Let's go to delete, 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 delete. All right, get all those suckers out of the way. So I have a pretty clean space, and I can move some around. You'll see here there's a beginning and there's an end. I'm probably going to want this guy to go up this way and then connect to the next one. So I want to reverse his path. Object reverse path. That just changes the beginning and the end of this. And you could do that at any time. So I'm going to make him look more, feathery and stick him in this space that I like. And you can play with this all you want. You can make, Jamie Wallen skinny long feathers. You can make little fat guys. Mine are kind of in the middle typically. So here we go. So when you like the basic outline and shape of him, there. I like that. I like that enough that I can copy and paste. I don't have to do this same process over and over. All I have to do is Control C, Control V. Boom, look who's there. Okay. Select him, move him up, put him pretty much anywhere. I'm going to spin him a little bit, kind of stick him right there. Great. Control C, Control V. Boom, new guy. Let's move up here. I'm going to spin him and stick him kind of that way. And I'm going to edit these extra lines later. For now, I want to just pile these up. Control V. This guy up here, he's going to want to be spun out a little bit more. We've got a corner coming up. Control V. Puts them down there. Let's see. Move him up here. This guy I'm going to want to shrink a little because he's kind of big for that space. And look, I can change the shape of him a lot just by shrinking him up, right? Let's stick him there. And I really like him. Control C, Control V. Do this guy. Control C, Control V. Whoops, accidentally hit that, which flipped him. Let's get him in there. I can see already I'm going to want to lower this guy. I want more room for these feathers. So if I now click on that guy, I can do this. See how easy this is to maneuver and edit and mess around with? Then I can just say, you know, make these guys bigger, make them smaller. Let's pick this guy again. Control C, Control V. Move him over here, spin him. All right, he looks great. Control C, Control V. I want this guy probably to be kind of big. Let's make him a little bit bigger. I might want this guy bigger too. That corner looks awfully empty now. I can perfect these dudes later. Right now, I just kind of want to get them kind of piled up. Let me select this guy. If I make him larger, you can see how easy this is. It's like a little puzzle, and you can just move everybody around all you want. Change the placement, change the size, change the shape a little. And of course, we're going to go in after and move those nodes around and make them much prettier. For now, it's, you know, an outline. It's kind of sticking people where you want them, things where you want them, and messing around with that. Okay, so now, if that guy's going to be big, this guy can come down here, flip a little, and we'll shrink him. Notice I'm not connecting anybody. We don't want to connect anybody yet. We want to be able to copy and paste, pick a guy that we really like, copy and paste him, move him around, Control C, Control V. We will connect them all in a very organized manner afterwards. These guys are going to have to get kind of smaller. I can move this still more a little bit, shape him more skinnier, I think. I'm probably going to manually move that line around a lot. For now, we'll Control C, Control V. Let's turn him a little, probably make it a little smaller. There we go. Control C, Control V. Let's turn this one a lot more. Control C, Control V. This will be our last kind of maybe end guy, right? So we'll make him much smaller. All right. So that gives me a good like outside idea. I'm going to edit this red line again. And you can see now why I didn't put a whole lot of effort into making that guy exactly what I wanted until I got the feathers in there and started really seeing the space, seeing how big the feathers, you know, should be, seeing, you know, just how I wanted the basic layout. And you can also see how simple it is and how easily I can, you know, make the edits that I want to do. So what if it was shaped kind of more like this here? I think. Now Now the feathers on the inside would have to be very small for this. I think that's okay though. That'll be fine. Again, it's so easy if you get the shape of a feather right to just go, ooh, I need them smaller. No biggie. So we're going to choose this guy. Let's move him up. So he really is like the end guy. And you know what? I think I want him to like kind of flip inwards. So look, boom. Now he is turned to the inside instead of the outside. Isn't he great? Okay, so let's start at the bottom again and perfect these guys. Get them where we want them. I can lift them a little, turn them. Not connecting anybody yet, but now we're going to like work more on getting this guy looking really good for us, where he, you know, probably is going to live. So I've got some extra down there, but I will deal with that when I'm connecting everybody. So we'll take this guy. We're going to want to flip him out a little bit more here. And I'm going to scroll in so it's more fun to play with him. There's his end. There's his beginning. I can make it stitch right on top of where the last one was too. So I don't have to worry about bump back feathers or line over feathers. Pretty simple to do either one this way. And get this guy prettied up a little bit. All right, so we're gonna continue moving him around, making everybody, you know, play nicely together here. It looks a little bit like dog's head, I guess you'd call it. Let's see here. All right, so he's doing it okay. There we go. A tiny movement of one node can make it just right into the place where you like it. So let's work with feather number 3. Here he is. He looks pretty good. So now let's make his beginning down here. Let him fill in here a little bit. Make him end up here. He'll go right along the spine. Right up to the line. All right, so we'll do one more and select him, move him down, pretty him up. Okay, isn't very round on the end, is he? There we go. Okay. And you can see that since I've removed a lot of the nodes, that the lines move more around the edges when I do alter the nodes that are remaining. And here we go. So I'm going to continue with this, and when I'm finished with the outside edges, I'll bring you right back. Okay, so now I have edited the nodes quite a lot and gotten these feathers to look pretty okay to me. I can do a little more messing with them, but I think they're good. I've also thought about it a lot and decided not to do feathers up the inside of the spine. I kind of like how these two guys kind of flip in towards the middle, and I think that looks good. So it's time now to start connecting the feathers so that they will stitch continuously and in the order that you want them to. And again, we're going to start at the bottom here. And we will get in here kind of tight. And so we'll select the nodes on the first guy. And where does he end? He ends way down here. The next feather starts kind of up here. So I'm going to look down there so you can see. You can see his beginning and you can see his end. There's another node here and another node here. I think I'm going to delete the end node, move it up a little, and I can even delete this one. So now he ends here. The next guy begins right here. So what I'm going to do is say select nodes. I'm going to select the beginning of the next guy and drag that down to the end of the last guy. I'm going to do one additional thing, and I hope you can see this well. We discussed this in the last video as well. When QBot is stitching up this line and then around, and then it's got to jerk and go back in the opposite direction, I like it to have a little pause. Give it a minute to think. And to make that happen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click Control and then select this node. That changes into a little square. It makes it a sharp point as opposed to a turnaround or a nice line. So I want that right on my line, and that's where I've put it. And you can see how, since the spine is red, it makes this part of the job much simpler. I've got those two connected now, and you can see all the nodes on the two of them there are now connected. So I'm looking for the red node on the second one. Boom, there it is. Here is our third feather. I'm going to grab this node, Control, drag it down, boom. Now that's attached also. All right, so we've got that one together. Let's see, he ends here, and the next one starts way up here. So we're going to delete a couple of nodes there, and his end is here. This is here. We're going to do the edit. We're going to make that a point. Bring it down. The little plus sign means you wanna kiss him? Oh yeah, we do. There we go. So now that guy ends here. The next feather starts over here. I'm gonna drag this here. Click this guy again. Delete those little nodes at the end. And connect them. So as you can see, this goes really fast. You just keep connecting them. Oop, look here. I've connected this feather prior to this one. I missed the end there. So I want to undo what I just did. Control, backspace. I'm going to do that until, Alt backspace is removed. All right, I hit it twice, and then I'm back to where I was prior. I guess I better click on this guy, figure out where his start is. Here's his start. I'm going to stick it over here. I'm going to stick his end up here. Now I'm going to go back to the feather that I wanted to connect to him. And here's his start. I'm going to drag it down. Now they're connected. All right, here's his end. Next feather, their beginning is way down here, way farther away than it needs to be. I'm deleting nodes to get it up to here. Then I'm going to edit the nodes, grab this one, bring it down to meet that one. All right, so there might be editing of these lines necessary afterwards once they're all connected, because you kind of want to, make them look good as they meet the center line and all of that. So his end is way down here. We're going to delete to snap it up a little bit. Oops, I hit one too many times, so I'm going to Alt back. There we go. Click on the edit. Put that about there. There's the beginning of the next guy. Drag it down, meet him. Do this. Kind of edit these lines a little. Move that up a little bit. There we go. All right, that's looking pretty good. So, a few more feathers to attach here. This fella ends here. You can see the red node. There's the beginning of this guy. We can delete a couple nodes there to shore him up. Click Edit. Put his beginning there. Now they're attached. Make sure it's square. Bring it down. His end is here. This guy's beginning is there. Boop. Okay. The end is there. beginning of the next guy there. Put that on the line. His end is there, beginning, there. You can see how quick this goes. I don't think we need that node right there. I think we can probably move this to here. You know what? I didn't want to do that. I'm going to go back and just put them where I want them. Okay. Again, using the red line in the center made this much easier. Now I can see where's feathers and where's the line when that's, not easy if you don't think of changing the line color prior. When you do connect them in the end, and you will, they will both change to one line color or the other, and then you can make that line color whatever you want. So let's see, where are we? Here's our end of this guy. Where's the beginning of this guy? Here it is. Kiss them together. I think we've got a node there that really doesn't need to be. There we go. So we'll move some lines around. This can come down quite a bit. Here's the end. Okay. So the end of that guy is here. Where does this guy begin? Right there. Good. This guy. I'm going to delete the end node. Now this one will be the end. I'm going to select it. Let those guys touch. Perfect. Now we have that swing back feather there. Where does he begin? Right there. Perfect. Those are together. He ends here. The next guy begins there. Boom. All right. We now have all of our feathers connected. They're all one little entity now, and I'm just prettying up a little bit of the lines, as it comes down. Because now the lines are pretty much where they're going to be. So sometimes a little massaging is necessary. Plus now I'm more close up than I was before, and I see a couple of, kind of places that aren't very round or pretty, or I just don't like the shape of them. So here we go. So now, here we have, this is the end. What I would like it to do, once it gets to the end, I have to figure out, do I want it to just stop there? Or is there a neat, crafty way to connect it to the spine? Then it could just go back to the beginning. Wouldn't that be great? So, once I've ensured that I do like where all my lines are, and let's move back, and that I'm not going to want to edit how they touch the center anymore, once I've really made that determination, that's when I want to connect them and not before, because we are still benefiting from the lines being two different colors and not having to mess with that too much, figuring out what's what. And trust me, it really does get tough. Before I came up with the, let's just change the line color idea, I had a lot of messing around where it was just like, I can't figure out what this node belongs to, and I want to edit the spine, and it just wasn't working for me. So this is just an easy solution I came up with, and I'm always reluctant to connect them in the end. And you don't actually have to connect them. I like for my whole design to be one long line if possible. I don't like QBot to have to stop and then go to a new space to start and all of that jazz. That's just, it's redundant. It makes everything take longer to stitch out. The QBot for me is all about having more time to plan and less time at the machine. It's just a lot easier for me. So I've gotten really organized in how I connect things, how I make things, where I go from here sort of stuff. So I'm still at the point where I'm prettying up a couple of lines. And now we have too much red line. It sticks way too far out. I don't need it way out there, do I? So I'm going to hit delete nodes. Delete that one. And I'm going to delete that one. Now, let's see. I don't want to delete that last one. Let's get it back in there. Okay. We're going to move things around just a little bit. We'll move him up there to get this node like to here. And now's the time to perfect that line also before we attach it to the others. And that looks pretty good to me. So we're going to go to this line. I think we should attach him right there, and he'll go whoop and then back up. So we're going to delete this little extra node here. We're going to connect this to this. I can make it a little point just so it does the swing back the way I like. Stick it right there. Get this looking good. And you can see that now that I've attached them, everything's red. Super. I'm going to change the line color back to blue just because I find it really hard to work on a red surface. Click that. Click this. Boom, it's blue again. So I'm looking to see if I really like this strange angled area. Kind of don't. So what can I do here? Let's look at these nodes again. And you can see now that's all the same color and they're all piled up. It's like, what am I doing here? That's the end of that guy. This is the, what if I put this kind of over here where some other guys are? And then put these guys there. All right, so that's kind of, that works for me. That works. I just can't stop playing with these dots to make this all look gorgeous to me. And make that fill up that space a little bit better. I could do a little more swingy backy thing. And maybe straighten that a little bit. All right, I like that. And so let's scroll out so we can see what we have here. Look at what we have. Isn't that terrific? Now, first thing I want to do is delete this line, this cross line. Don't need it anymore. Delete. Now we're going to address the beginning endpoint. So let's come down here and select nodes and see what we have. All right, we have the beginning, which goes right up the feathers, and then we have the endpoint here, which comes back down the spine. I think if I make the endpoint a good start end where it sews over itself again, and if I make sure that that does go over this beginning line exactly, that'll get everything very securely done. I don't want to pull any nodes because I don't want to change the shape of anything I have here. So I'm going to draw an extra line, and it's going to go, let's see, it's going to go from the end over the beginning. So then it's going to actually end. Then I'm going to go back up, 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 down, down, down. There's my crazy squiggly line. I'm going to edit the nodes. I'm going to attach this to the end of that so it's long enough now. I'm going to slide it over so it's over my beginning point. And let's see, I can move the beginning point Now I want the beginning point to be a place where the QBot stops and I go, yeah, that's where it should be. So I'm leaving that there. We'll bring this up, make this a point as we want it to stop, and turn around and do some back stitching up to say here, make that a point, then bring it back down. Delete one of these guys, bring this guy over here, and look at that. Now you can always massage these guys to make them line up more perfectly right on top of one another. So now you have a start end point. The entire design is connected. So the last thing to do is hit player. Let's see how this will stitch out. I click on the medium play because it happens a lot faster. And then look at this. There it is. I can go back in now that I've seen it play out. I'm seeing little places that aren't round enough. I'm seeing where this doesn't exactly meet the spine very well. I'm going to go in and do my, micro management perfection. I always do. Then I will flip it onto the card and go down to my machine and see how it stitches out. I always stitch it on a practice piece prior to putting it on an actual quilt that I care about. Sometimes I notice little baubles or little weaves that I hadn't noticed in the program here. Sometimes some of these little bumps and weaves that I see so clearly in here really aren't that bad. Really aren't that bad once I get it to the QBot. But I always like to see it stitched out to say, oh, I love it, or yeah, it needs some more work. Something else I want to show you. Say I wanted this in a square. I could always, let's see, let's select it, and let's say I want to, I'll multiply it. So say I multiply this. Since it's on an angle, I don't think it does that well. No, it doesn't. It would put them side by side. Put them back to back in the larger triangle, which is nice. If you have a larger triangle on the quilt and you don't want to just simply enlarge this design, it could be fun to twin it like this. You could also connect the start end points and make it stitch down one side, back, and then up the other side. You can, geez, that was so fun. We could actually do this. We could reflect it horizontally also. And just that easily, you have a square design. Boy, I like that a heck of a lot more than I thought I would. That's pretty awesome. Anyways, so once you have a very basic design, this design took us, what, an hour? Once you have a very basic design, you can really, really play with this. Connect the different features and have it all, very, very exactly the same on both sides, top, bottom. Make it larger, make it smaller. Once you have it to this point, you can actually do things like, stretching it, twisting it, look at just different strange things. I don't know why you'd want to do any of that, but hey, you might want to. I don't want all of that. I'm going back. What I originally wanted to do was to make the other half of this square have this design in it also, kind of a mirror. So I could turn this till it was straight up and do a mirror, or I could say reflect four-way. This might give me what I want. Do I have one in there? I do. I can say, great, it's 4 ways now. Then I just have to figure out which ones, pick one at a time, which one of these I actually want. And there it is. So this guy, delete, this guy, delete, this guy, move him back in here. This guy, move him in there. So if I wanted my square to look like this and have a mirrored image on both sides, I could do it just like this. Also, in other parts of the quilt,
It could be upside down. It could need to be, flipped around. What I typically do is I save it like this, then I flip the whole thing this way or this way. And if I want to flip them both at the same time, I select this button over here, select all. Then they work together to flip. I can flip them this way. And as I save them, I would save them as, say this was called, feather 1. I could call this one feather 1. I could call the other one feather 1 U for upside down, or just a whole different name entirely. So when I go to the QBot, I often have 6, 7, 8 designs in there that are basically the same design. However, they're flipped upside down or sideways or whatever. I am working with the first version of QBot. So you may or may not have more options for flipping it upside down right at the machine available. I do believe that's available in V3, possibly V2 as well. But I have a lot of little tips and tricks about doing that type of thing and lining it up perfectly also, and I'll have to make some more videos on that. For today, here's your feathers. I hope you found this really informative and you love doing this. I find this to be the most fun part of my QBot system, and I hope you'd enjoyed this as much as I have. Thanks for watching.